Right. Hello, both of my current viewers. Since there's more than one of you now, I guess it's time to get started. I'm going to be building a KBDFans Blade60 today. From scratch, we're going to be using the Plain60 PCB by Evi, some OPBlack switches, and then, well, the yellow KBDFans Blade60 case. Let's maybe get started by testing the PCB, because usually I kind of forget about this part until I've soldered a few switches, so let's see. There we go. And if you're new here, if you're not new here, then don't be afraid to say hi in the chat. We've just met good. Yeah, thanks. I actually picked this one up before I saw Quasu use one, so yeah. I'm original. Okay, so open up VIA. Right. Okay. So, close this window. There we go. Right. So, I really hope this works, because if it doesn't, then this is going to be a desolder. Sure. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I hope this works. Otherwise, this is going to be a desolder stream instead, because I do not have a second spare 60% PCB. I'm trying to find something to short the pins with, but I cannot seem to be able to find anything at all. Let me see. Do I have a switch for that? Right, so let's just use this little piece of wire then. Key tester, and for good measure, let's turn on sounds as well. All right. Okay, first row seems to be okay. In a few spots, the clacky, yeah, hi Nugs, thank you for dropping by. In a few spots, the pitch that the key tester makes blends into the music, where it's not like cacophonous, so like it's a bit hard to detect whether I've actually like registered a key press or not. It's pretty funny. Okay. No, I do not want to turn on sticky keys. Despite it may be looking like I do. But it's the Windows keys. It's really a function key. And there's the controls, so everything seems to be working perfectly. Before we get started with the build, let's go ahead and configure the key map a little bit. I am going to be building it with a split backspace and with a symmetrical bottom row, so let's go ahead and set that up. Split left shift no, split right shift yes. Split backspace and bottom row is Sangan. Okay, let's see, how do I usually have it? Geez, how do I usually have it? Okay, I'm used to in keyless keyboards, so hence the confusion. Right, Control, Windows, Alt, Windows. This should be right Alt. This should be right Windows, and this is right Control. So that should be good. I also like to bind caps lock to escape, since I'm not really using caps lock ever. And just put the caps lock on a layer. What else? What is this there? Oh, right. Let's put the backspace here. This will be our backtick key, very important if you're a JavaScript developer. And there we go, that's looking good. I'm actually going to put backtick over here as well. Couldn't find it again. Okay, there we go. So, PCB tested, seems to work. So let's set up for lubricating these stabs. I just disconnected a USB device, so hopefully nothing died. That would be awkward. Zoom in a little bit. Keyboard looks tiny compared to my hands. Yeah, I'm quite tall, and I played a little bit of basketball during the period in which I grew really fast. So like I have decent reach. The downside of this is that like basically every kind of out of the box ergonomic keyboard is kind of ridiculously small for my hands. Or like the sort of position in which I would need to hold my fingers for it to work properly does not really work out in my favor, unfortunately. Right, so for our stabs, we are going to be using these, I think they were Everglide, smoky gray with golden wires. Right, so we have 2 long keys and a 7U spacebar. Is the 7U already? Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, that's. I think I might only have 6.25U spacebar wires. Need to dig around a little bit, so I'll be back in a moment. Alright, that's a bit awkward. Let's see, are these as long? Yes. Hey Lottie. So how long is this? Okay, thank heavens this is a 7U wire. It's going to be mismatched in color, but I would rather build it mismatched than postpone this build again. So I guess that will have to do. Do you just think about where the hell I'm going to get a 7U stab wire tomorrow then, though? Yeah, that's. Hold on, let me quickly check. Did the sets that I order really not contain a 7U wire? Durock screw and stabs. Full set. Should have 2 wires. That's really weird. Both of the sets that I had at hand only had 1 wire. So a stocking error maybe? I'm not sure. Well, whatever. Let's try and get over it. It is unfortunate because I was looking forward to building it with fully Durock stabilizers, but I guess that's not going to happen. But so that's 1. That's 2. And that's 3. God damn it. I'm now like kind of disturbed by the fact that apparently I did not have full sets of stabs, and it's taking me off a little. Right, so we have 3 sets of stabs, 2 2U, 1 7U. We also need, let's see, these are switch. Hold on, what is this? Another set of Durock stabilizers. This is also 6.25U. What the hell? That is so weird. Moral of the story, I guess. Order from my keyboard and not keygen, because, well, yeah, I'm gonna have to build a board with mismatched stabs now. I'll live. I'm just like a little bit annoyed. Just the 205G, 0. And I did have a little bit of this. What is this? This is Trigosis. This is a bit too thin. Alright, so let's just go full to 205G0. Sorry, I am in a bit of a rut because like this stab situation is annoying me a little bit, but I'll turn down the music a little bit and try and calm down. Right, so what we're going to be doing with these is we are going to try EPC modding them. So when the wire moves within the stab slider, it has 2 points of contact. Try and get this into frame. 2 points of contact. Low. Okay, it's not going to autofocus, so no point in showing this off. But basically we're going to be applying small bits of this sticker in 2 places in every slider. And that's sort of going to dampen the impact that they make when the stab bottoms out and also when it comes back up. So to do that, let's first cut a random length. And see how much we need. Wrong piece. This really doesn't want to snap, so I'm going to need to switch out the blade on the X-Acto, because it's been seeing some abuse because I have been using it to clean up 3D prints. I'm actually going to finish this bit and then swap out the X-Acto blade. Blade. So for everyone that's joined in the meantime, hi. I'm very glad to have you here, and don't be afraid to say hi in chat as well. We are a friendly bunch. Alright, so that is a lot better. One down. Where did I put it? Where did I put the rest of it? Here. So I have, let's see. Okay, I have not actually streamed building a keyboard since I think July, which was when I built the Meridian, this board. Been busy trying to enjoy the summer, swapping medication and promptly getting ill, not related to the medication. And we did do a few D&D streams with my fiance as well, which was a bunch of fun. And I know that our friends have been enjoying those very much as well, so that's been enjoyable. I will probably like drop a link to the playlists or the Twitch channel that we use to stream D&D in my description at one point or another as well. Okay, that's 2 down. This is probably the most tedious part of any keyboard build. It's modifying the stabilizers, but oh damn, is it worth it? No one super likes, or well, some people might, tastes differ, but like I don't like my keyboards to be rattly, so that is ought to fix that. Okay, just a moment, please. All right, so 3 done. Let's cut off under strip of this film. So tomorrow, I and a bunch of my friends actually are going to go to an event called Mango.ö, which roughly translates into Night of the Games. It is a video game focused event, or video game culture focused event. This year it is going to have a high-end PC area in which one of the local better known system builders is going to showcase some of his fanciest builds. And Andri from Levelux and the head organizer of Mango has asked me and some other people in the Key.ee Discord channel to we were watching yesterday's D&D session. I appreciate that. Anyway, tomorrow we will be doing a live stream from there. I'm going to be rebuilding my Buckineko 60 to support a slightly different layout, and Valmar, or Northhound, as he is in this chat sometimes, is going to be lubing some switches. And of course we're going to be showing off our keyboard collections as well to people that have yet to be enlightened. Outside of that, I do have quite a few keyboard kits on the way. The Maker Keyboards Scarlet should be shipping any week now. That is an 80% keyboard, or a 10 keyless keyboard. My first of that form factor, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. It has a mounting style similar to the Buckinekos, in that the plate and the PCB assembly sits or sort of floats on top of a rubber O-ring, which provides like fairly decent isolation from the rest of the case, and it has a nice plexi feel to it, hopefully. After that, I will be building a Vast60 round 2, so basically the younger brother of this guy. There was a round 2 of this keyboard. I got one in red, and they changed around a few things. The top looks pretty much the same outside of a small badge added to the left side, and they also added a brass weight to it. So it should be a little bit heavier. I'm not entirely sure whether or not it's going to affect the sound profile at all. I'm actually hoping it won't, because currently the Vast60 is my favorite keyboard. And I would very much like the other one to sound exactly like it, or like sort of close to it as well. After that, what else? I'm going to rebuild the Meridian. It's currently built on a mil-maxed PCB and an aluminum plate. But since I don't really like the feel or the sound of aluminum anymore, and I do have a spare PCB and a POM, or like palm soft plastic plate, then I'm going to be switching over to that. And after that, it might be time for the Wilbur Salvation to arrive in October or whenever it was going to arrive. I'm pretty excited about that one as well. All right, that should be all of the little stickers applied. Let me see if I can get it into focus here. So what we did was that we added a little bit of this sort of soft foamy sticker to the top and the bottom where the wire is going to be touching when the keycap tops out and when it bottoms out. So that should make it a little bit more cushioned. Right, what's next? Let's see, where did I put my brush? It is. Next up, we are going to be lubricating the stabs, but before we do that, the music seems to have stopped, so let me quickly fix that. Okay, there we go. So, the thing that I'm going to do next is that I will cover the insides of the stab housing, so these inside walls, with some fairly thick lubricant, and that is to sort of ensure that they move up and down smoothly without making too much noise. For those of you that have joined very recently, hello. I'm very happy to have you here. Don't be afraid to say hi in the chat as well. Yeah, I appreciate that you decided to click on a link in one of the Discord channels that I spammed it into. So, tomorrow's event is going to be starting at 9. So I think I'm going to go live with the stream at like 9:30 or 10. I will announce it in a few places as well. So if you sort of found a place to click on this link, then, well, you will probably also see another link tomorrow. since we no longer really need the X-Acto right now, then I have accidentally stabbed myself with it a bunch of times, so I would not like to repeat that. Wait, which one were we at? This one. Okay, that should be enough for now. Let's go ahead and assemble them. Today's stream is a bit of a milestone for me in the sense that the lovely Tom from my keyboard Discord I think gave me a content creator role, so I can annoy even more people with my stream announcements, as sporadic as they are. But if you're here through the my keyboard Discord, then you know who I'm talking about. Okay, I think the stickers on this one were a little bit too long. Let's see, I'm gonna try and fix that. Okay, where did I put the knife? So what happened was that it probably shows up in top-down view. If it ever autofocuses. Thank you, Panasonic. The overlap, or the overlap of this sticker over this corner, if it's like a little bit too far, well, that light shut off. If it's like a little bit too far, then it's going to kind of impede with the insertion of the stab wire. So I moved back the bottom one a little bit, but I also need to fix the top one. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Slid in nicely. That's the wrong way around. One day I will have a keyboard build where I do not make this mistake. Today is not that day. Wait, what the hell is going on here? Okay, it's good. And we're going to have to use a strictly inferior silver stab wire, unfortunately. Is this even straight? Looks decent enough. And I just realized I've been forgetting to lube the stab wires while I put them in, so we're gonna have to do, or well, undo a bunch of them. Usually I would use a slightly thicker silicone-based grease for this part, but since I could not for my life find it before I started the stream, then this will have to do. once again the issue where, okay, there we go. The tape was a little bit too tight around the wire. That's looking good. And the last one as well. Okay, that one's fine. This one I've assembled wrong, but it's really easy to fix. And this one looks fine as well. So, the next thing that we're going to do is that we are going to be, just gonna clean my hands a little bit. We are going to be installing the stabs to the PCB. Usually, I would use these stickers to dampen the sound that they make when they hit. But since I only have four 6 stabilizers, or for 6 separate units, then I think I'm actually going to use these the inner sort of bit of these films instead. Let's see if I can get some of these loose. And let's see whether they like sort of fit lengthwise at all. I have a feeling they might. Yeah, they do. Perfect. Wait, what? Oh, they're not adhesive. That's a bummer. Let's see, do I have any other kinds of stab stickers? I do not. So we are going to go stickerless. I think this is going to be the first sport that I'm not band-aid modding. So the stabs are going to be a little bit louder than what I'm used to, but variety is the spice of life, and the spice must flow. On which note, in case you've seen Dune, did you like the movie? The new Dune, I mean. Right, so which way around are these? Okay. Right, where's my screwdrivers? Okay. For some reason, some of these screws are super easy to kind of cross-thread. And I think I just stripped the... Wait, what? That's weird. For a moment it felt like the insert that's in the plastic here, this little piece of brass, was like rotating with the screw, but it seems to be attached solidly, so I'm not going to mess with it any further just in case. It's my first time using this specific PCB as well. I've been looking at some of the boards that Avi has designed for quite a while. This is the Plain60C. What I like about it is that it seems like fairly sturdy, so it's probably going to be like a little bit stiffer than like most of the PCBs that I've used. And also, it doesn't have that many options as far as the placement goes, so placing the switches is going to be fairly straightforward. Some of the DZ60 and Friends kinds of PCBs are, well, they support like every layout under the sun, which means that there's a lot of holes in here, which not only makes them a little bit more brittle, but it also makes it so that it's quite challenging to place the keys in the exact layout that you do want, or place the switches before soldering. This one didn't seat itself in here properly, so I am aiming to fix that. There we go. It's 2 out of 3 in place, and the last one that we want to place here is the one for the enter key. This one goes this way around. It's a little bit finicky sometimes. There we go. That fortunately did not leave a mark. Right. I'm going to be quickly stealing some keycaps off of one of my other boards, just to test it. And as for which keycaps we're going to be building this one with, well, there's choices. 3 different choices actually. But let's talk about that when we get there. Right, since this does not have a 7U spacebar. Oh right, I have one here. What a coincidence. So what we're going to do right now is that we are going to be, oh, okay, that took some force. We're going to be kind of testing the stabs, checking whether they're like sort of properly balanced, checking whether they're like kind of evenly lubed. Because once we start soldering, getting to the point where I have access to the stabs again is going to be a bunch of work. I'm gonna have to like desolder switches, and I don't super feel like doing that today. Plus, well, with every desolder you kind of run into the risk of frying some of the traces, or like tearing some of the traces up in case like a switch is especially stubborn and doesn't super want to come loose. And I have not really seen the point in investing in like a €300 desoldering gun, which would kind of avoid that. I don't really build enough boards to justify that kind of a purchase. But maybe sometime in the future. Okay, let's see, how do these sound? I'm going to switch over to the other mic for a moment as well so you guys can hear. And pause the music. Okay, seems about right. There's like a slight difference in the tone of these two keycaps, but you have a bunch of variables that sort of affect this. You have sort of the size of the keycap itself. It is going to resonate a little bit on the down and the upstrokes. And the spacebar sounds like it's from a different keyboard altogether, but that's fine. I think this is about as good as I'm going to get them. Right, so let's switch back over to the good mic, re-enable music, and I will be back in a minute or two. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to feed my cats because they have been pining to be fed for a while, and then we're going to look at the plate and the case, and maybe sort of announcing the keycap choices as well. So I'll let's see, do I have a scene for this? I do not. Quickly whip one up. There we go. And I will BRB. Alright, and we are back. Another thing that I did was that I grabbed my soldering supplies, since we are going to be using those, and I also grabbed a little bit of something to drink. For some reason, like these switches in this plate are like kind of super tight. I wonder if that happens with other switches as well. Let's try a tangerine. Wow, what the hell has happened to you? Someone's bent the pins on the switch. Wonder who it was. Okay, it seems to be an issue with just these switches, which is a bit odd, but sure. Right, so the plate that we are going to be using is this half plate from CarolinaMech. Now, this is something that I technically could have ordered from Europe and gotten sort of custom cut, but I have yet to take that step. I do have like the CAD files and the Gerber files as well. Could like order it from JLC or wherever, but haven't sort of had the courage to do that yet. But yeah, this is made out of FR4 or fiberglass, which is also the material used in the PCBs themselves, and it's like fairly flexy, and it's also I really kind of started liking the sound that this produces in combination with linear switches. So yeah, that's what we're going to be using. I have built one half-plate keyboard before, and that's my girlfriend's Hex 3C, I think it was. But yeah, that one was with a plastic plate, so that is quite a bit softer. Okay, so to get started, let's first get the corners right. Okay. I was just like testing how loose the plate is around the switch housings. Not very, which is good, but also not super loose. Since this is a half plate and not a full plate, then we're going to have to get creative when it comes to aligning the center rows, because even though these are 5-pin switches, they still have a little bit of wiggle room. Although with a fit this type, I'm actually not sure if that's going to be an issue, but let's cross that bridge when we get there. So since we're going to have bottom row pretty much like this, except with win keys, then I know that these are going to be 1.5U, which means that I'm going to be using the holes that are more on this side, so it's not super stabbing in the dark. Let's get the spacebar as well. Wow, a bunch of these are actually bent, and all I've done is that I kind of poured them from the plastic bag that they came in into this little container. So they must have gotten like messed up a little bit during shipping. And these I got from mykeyboard.eu, who I am not affiliated with, but Necroman X, if you're watching. Alright, those seems to be in solidly enough. Just quickly going to make sure that the music doesn't stop abruptly again. Right. Okay. So let's get soldering. I should really kind of swap out my soldering iron because I'm currently using like this kind of semi-industrial looking one from I think I bought it from like a random construction store. It was 17 euros with some really thick lead. So it's not very good. What's happening here? So I'm actually going to go ahead and open the window here. Because the fumes from the solder, although this is lead-free solder, it shouldn't be like harmful to my health or anything, but it does kind of make my head hurt sometimes. So let's try and avoid that. This one's a bit tricky to get because it's right next to the USB port, and the power cord of my soldering iron isn't very long, but yeah, we got there. We got there. Oh, hey Hannah. Very glad to have you here. Okay, so let's insert the rest of these switches on the perimeter and work our way from there. some of these do not want to go in at all. Jeez, what the hell? Is the housing of the switch like... Oh yeah, okay. It was like slightly loose from one corner. It functions okay. That's kind of really weird, but whatever. Let's see if we can get it to sit straight. There we go. Like this is like the PCB being sort of like tight around the switch legs makes these a little bit tricky to insert. Like usually if there's a resistance, then it's from like the friction between the switch housing and the plate material. So like you apply pressure to the plate and like counter pressure from below if you can, depending on the exact position of the switch. And that usually kind of resolves itself. But here, I'm not only having to fight sort of the rigidity or the lack of rigidity of the plate, but also the fact that the two little positioning feet in here are not super happy to go where they're supposed to go. So it's a little bit of a struggle. And what's like the weirdest bit is that like it's not the case with all of the switches, just some of them. So life is like a box of chocolates today. Okay, these look all right. Right, are we gonna go stepped caps lock or normal caps lock? At least two of the three sets that I am considering putting on here support step caps. And in case the third doesn't, which I highly doubt, then like one switch is super easy to resolder, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's go stepped. On my favorite keyboard, I do not have step caps lock because my favorite keycap set, the GMK Botanical, right here, I unfortunately have managed to misplace the stepped caps key, which I'm kind of really unhappy about, because, well, I mean, buying like a new copy of that set in the aftermarket is not really visible, because holy shit, has it been price checked. So I opted to go non-stepped there. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to be using the help of my other keyboard to align the rest of the bottom row. Okay, this looks like the central position, so should be the center one. That actually might not have been the one. Let's see. And I managed to bend the switch leg, goddammit. Does this look better? Yeah, I think this one's right. Another one of these. So like out of the box, some of these switch housings seem to be like not on properly, which is super weird. I haven't really seen this issue with any other switch. These, by the way, are the OPBlacks. I cannot for my life remember who made them, but I got them from my keyboard.eu. Yep, that looks right. And another one. See, this corner here is like a little bit spread out, or like it's the bottom half is not strictly against the top half. So if I were to go ahead and do this, then it clicks into place and then everything's okay. So yeah, super weird. I'm not even sure if this is like a QC issue or whether well, actually, it can't be shipping damage, because like if I think about it, then how could that possibly happen during shipping, you know? So it's weird. It must be a QC issue. Some of them are okay, just a few are a bit weird. Alright, that should be the perimeter done. I'm just going to check for alignment. Looks chaotic good to me. So let's go ahead and solder the outer ones. I'm sorry for subjecting you guys to having to listen to me sniffling a little bit. I had a 3-week vacation, 2.5 weeks out of which I was sick. I had a cough. I didn't have my voice for a week. Like, it hurt to talk, and like I did not sound good. And I coughed like crazy. But now I am getting a little bit better, but like still having sort of some symptoms of cold. Before you jump into chat, no, it's not COVID-19. I did get tested, and it turned out negative. So I don't know what it was. Then again, like I do get sick like during the autumn at least once, I think, every year. Okay, I think what is this? Yeah, I bent a switch leg here. Oh wow, this one's not wanting to come out easy. Another thing that's super weird about these is that like the top housing material seems to be fairly soft. So like kind of grabbing it with switch pullers, not squeezing too hard, and you can see it's like kind of bent out of shape already. So I'm gonna have to just dispose of the switch. Oh, hey Kirilla. Nice to have you drop by. Ugh, jeez, what the hell? Okay. I am going to go ahead and get creative with this one. It's going to need a little bit of convincing from the bottom side. So trying to pry it open without destroying the PCB is a bit weird. Okay, there we go. We got it out. It ran away, and I just wanted to make sure to grab it before the cuts too. Alright. There we go. How many keyboards do I own already? 6. I'm building the 7th one. I am trying to sell one of them, at least one of them. I think I need to. I think I need to get like rid of a few more, to be fair, because kind of running out of space, and well, like with like 5 or 6 keyboards, I can sort of get by like swapping them out every now and then, but like with more than that, I kind of run into the issue where like some of them just like sort of are there, and I never end up using them. So I do have like rebuilds planned for a bunch of them as well, so like some of the ones that I haven't been using, I am intending to use a little bit more once I've like rebuilt them more to my liking. One such rebuild I will actually be doing tomorrow from Mangoda live. Right, that should be the outer ones done. Okay, now let's get to the inner rows. So, before I start soldering these, I'm just going to check if the friction between the switch legs and the little holes is going to be enough for it to keep them straight. Yeah, okay, that's on there. That's not coming loose. So sometimes with like plateless builds or builds with half plates, you can run into the issue where the switch is kind of loose in the PCB, and they can thus end up a little bit crooked if you do not take extra steps to make sure that they're aligned. So like either you fold like a piece of paper thick enough for it to slot in exactly between two switch rows, and like aligning them by that, or by some other method. But it would be kind of annoying to have to deal with that, I'm gonna be honest. And the last one. Of course, I grabbed the one with probably the most bent switch legs that I've seen yet. Okay, now just gonna make sure that they're seated nicely in the PCB. Right, I'm just going to check for alignment as well. Yeah, these rows look pretty good. I'm trying to sort of angle it towards the camera so that you guys can see as well. Alright, and now we need to solder them. Soldering is actually like probably like what I enjoy most about building keyboards, or like dealing with electronics in general. During my vacation, I managed to finally find the patience to start tinkering with Arduinos again, and like, even though it might not look like much, but like sort of getting an Arduino to blink an LED with solder connections you hadn't made and code that you wrote from scratch is kind of really satisfying. So yeah, I built like a small what is this? Is this in properly? It was weird. The light is like kind of like playing tricks on my eyes a little bit. The reflection from the monitor light that I have is it's kind of bouncing off of the PCB, which in this case is reflective. Some of them are not. Let me see if I can zoom in even. Nope, I cannot. Okay. This is as far as this lens goes. Could swap it out for another one, but the other one is significantly worse. It's not as sharp, doesn't autofocus as well, which, I mean, even this doesn't autofocus very well because it is a Panasonic camera. It's kind of even worse than that one, and it's not as bright as this one. I'm using one of my new lenses for my face cam today. I'm quite liking or quite enjoying how it looks. So pretty happy with that purchase. Ow. Got some molten solder splash on my thumb for some reason. It's not exactly pleasant. Apparently I soldered one switch out of this row while doing the previous one for some reason, so let's gonna go over that once more. Again, the hell. Oh, another board that I got into a group buy for that I forgot to mention earlier is the Create Keybs Thera, which is the same company that made this one, which is currently my favorite board. It is a layout that I've never tried before. It's like a 75% kind of a deal. It has discrete arrow keys and F keys. It does not have sort of the classic home, page up, page down cluster of 10 keyless keyboards. And I have to admit, I mostly picked it up because of FOMO and because the pictures looked really good, and also because I don't have any keyboards that support a plateless build. So that I think is supposed to ship. That I think is supposed to ship in November, and I think it was like around or slightly after the Wilbur Salvation should arrive. So I'm waiting for 4 more keyboards, so I really need to sell some. I just realized I'm waiting for 4 more keyboards. Is that it? I think that might be it. Let's see. Right, the solder joints are looking decent. Add a little bit of like it probably made solid electrical connection. I just sort of didn't like how it looked. Alright. So let's test and see if the keys work. To do that, I need to crawl under my desk for a moment because I have managed to drop the USB-C cable again for the third time today. So I will quickly do that. Switch over to something that does not. There we go. Okay, we got the cable. So let's plug it up. And I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the other keyboard because I don't want to accidentally change the layout of my daily driver, so to say. Right, so I'm going to mute the music. I'm actually not going to mute the music, I'm just going to turn it down for myself so I can hear. Let's go over to the key tester. Okay, first row seems good. Okay, all of the key seems to work, and the layer seems to work just fine as well. The one thing that I did not set up in the layer, I think, was the okay, the F keys are set up by default, but here I want there to be delete. This should pass through. What else do I use? Arrow keys, of course. Up, left, right, and down. Okay. Is that it? Well, it is not, but I'm not going to maybe go into too much detail configuring this right now. I am very likely just going to kind of copy over the key map from one of my other keyboards, since they are a very similar layout. So, instead of looking at that, I am going to... Sorry about that. I unplugged my soldering iron, since all of the contacts seemed to be okay. And we're going to be looking at the case, finally. And since I don't want to scratch it up with solder, then I am going to remove my soldering mat from here as well. And of course I dropped my USB cable again, but that's okay. Right. So, here's the box. I'm quickly going to check whether it has my address on it or not. I've kind of on purpose left the unboxing part of this to do on stream. I'm hoping the case is okay because the box that it came in did take a little bit of damage in shipping, apparently. Gonna just like put... Jeez, okay. I I don't want everyone to know my address, so I'm just gonna hold my hand on here until I slice this open. As you can see, like one of the corners of the package is completely caved in, which I hope did not damage the board. If it did, I have video evidence of it being like this when I opened it, so. Okay. And here we have another box. Wow, that's heavier than I expected it to be, actually. Right, so this is the KBDFans Blade60. Doesn't have anything written on it, interestingly enough. Okay, it does have like a barcode here, but like no model name or anything, which is a bit odd, but it's okay. Just going to take it out of its plastic. There. There's like a nice magnetic latch here. I love when like product designers sort of incorporate elements like this in their packaging. Right. Here it is. It's yellow. I picked the yellow color because it looked the coolest out of the options that were available, and I already had like some black boards and a blue board, so yellow seems like a nice change of pace. Okay, here's a layer of foam that I'm going to be placing inside the case. And here is the case itself. Wow, that is really yellow. It looks a little bit more orange in real life. The colors that my camera reproduces right now are not super accurate. It has the stand-up holes. All of these stand-ups are optional, actually. And a perfectly sort of clean button. So let's see what else came in the box. Okay, one of these already tried to make a run for it, but all right. So here we have some small spacers. These are like these little tube-looking bits, threaded on both sides, slightly divoted. Then we have some screws and some bushings or O-rings. I think these look like they might be pour-on or some sort of a foamy, rubbery material. Since we did build our PCB with a half plate, and since it does flex a little bit, not super much because it is quite a thick, solid PCB, then I think I'm only going to use the two outer standoffs. And if I'm not mistaken, then how I get these in here is that I put a bushing on the bottom, screw it in, put a bushing in between the case and the little standoff, put a screw in from the bottom, and place the standoff on top of here, place the PCB on top of here, and then screw in the second screw. So let's try and do that. So we're going to need 4 screws in total. Here's 4. Let's see. Actually, before we continue, I'm just going to put on the little feet that the case has as well. so that it doesn't rest on its flat rear side on the desk mat. Alright, the contrast of black and yellow is looking really nice. I'm gonna try and see if I can like fix the colors a little bit, because the sort of tint that the webcam image has does not really super make it justice. Let's see, just a moment. Filters, color correction. That. Right, so that's roughly what it looks like in real life. Comparing the image that I see on my screen and what I'm actually holding in my hands, this is what it looks like in real life, roughly. So yeah. Okay. So. Right, where was I? I was wondering if these are adhesive or not. They do seem to be, which is very good news, because that means that I do not have to play hide and seek with these little things all around the case while I try and assemble it, which I can sort of foresee being incredibly annoying. Okay, that's one. If I had to redo this build, then I think I would try and source a version of Plain60 with flex cuts, because the material that it is made of is quite stiff. Maybe it's my perception, but it does seem a little bit stiffer than some of the other PCBs that I've been working with. Alright, let's get a small Phillips head. So, what do you guys think about the color? It's kind of heavily straying from what I would usually go for, but maybe it will work out nice. Try to cross thread already, unfortunately. It was quick. Okay, so I want this to be tight enough for it not to rattle around, but not tight enough to like fully compress. Actually need to use a slightly larger screwdriver head. I want it to be sort of affixed firmly enough for it to not rattle around in use, but not tightly enough for it to sort of compress the entire standoff. Okay, that moves around a little bit, which I think will be fine. So I'll try and get the same kind of stiffness out of the other one. No context. Okay. Yeah, the last tray mount keyboard that I built was the Tofu 60. That was, I think, like 2 years ago. But I haven't really had any tray mount keyboards since then. So it's kind of going back to my roots a little bit. but let's see how it turns out. Maybe it's nice. All right, making sure that it's aligned to the little standoffs that we just screwed in. And it looks like it is. So I hope these screws are magnetized. They are. That's great. Okay. Wow, okay. That's not good. I think I'm gonna have to put in more standoffs because this is super loose. It's just gonna like sort of rock back and forth. Yeah, that's a bummer. Oop. All right, so 2 more standoffs. Let's go. So we need 4 more screws. Come on. Such weird packaging, like. Okay, there we go. Right, here's the bushings. So the fact that it's like cushioned a little bit might actually make it feel quite interesting, and if I had to take a guess, then like quite bouncy, since these I do not want music with vocals in it. Sorry about that. Let's play something else. Let's play that. I got it on a little bit crooked, so I'm just trying to fix that. I just noticed that the color change that I made to the camera super messed up my skin tones. This is not what my skin actually looks like in real life. Some of you in the chat probably have seen me in real life and can attest to that. But I'm not super feeling like dealing with adjusting the colors right now, so I guess we'll just have to deal with that. I'll fix it in post. Right, once again, trying to get about as solid of a connection as the two that I inserted beforehand, without it being without it being too tight. Okay. That seems right. This one's still a little bit loose. Okay, now it should be about even. Right, so we have the option of building it with the foam or without the foam. I'm thinking I'm going to try that with the foam first. Or actually, I'm going to try without the foam first, because then we sort of get the idea. Then we sort of get an idea about how the case itself sounds without muting it too much. And then if I do not like the sound, or if I feel like a change would be warranted, then I can add the foam later on. I sort of started with liking these really muted boards, but eventually kind of started to appreciate how at least some cases sound without there being foam in them. So yeah. Let's try and get this one right. Okay, so I think that's all 4 screws about equally tight. Right, so what's super interesting about this is that I'm not sure if it translates super well over to the camera, but if I wiggle these around, then like the PCB actually moves in here. But if I press down on it, then wow, okay, that's is that flexy enough to? That might just be flexy enough to short out some of the contacts while like typing a little bit more heavily, but I guess we'll see. Right, so now it's time to put on some keycaps. We have 3 choices. One of them is the GMK Oblivion V2, which I have had for a while. The second one of them is a very cute budget set. Let me grab it. It is PBT Cat, or Cat PBT. It's a cat-themed black and white key set. And then I also have... Oh yes! Another shipment that came in super recently, and I think I just flashed my address to the whole wide world, but this is Cat Space Cadet, which looks-wise is one of my favorite sets of all time, but I've never tried the profile before. So I think, unless anyone has a super strong opinion, I think I'm gonna try this first, and if I don't like it, or if I feel like the stream hasn't been long enough, then I can open some of the other ones. This box is huge enough to... Wow, okay. Box was huge enough to... Yikes. Sorry about that. This box is huge, and it has a bunch of stuff in it as well. So let's go over them one by one. First, up on top, we have 60% plus mods. I think this is sort of like the base kit. So we're going to be using this one. Next, we have space-bars. If there's no 7U spacebar in the base kit, then we're going to be opening this one up as well. Then we have alphas. This we're definitely going to need. North, which, by the way, is the first custom keycap set that I saw. Or like this kit is the first kit in a custom keycap set that I've seen that had the U letter in it. That's kind of incredibly rare because it's not present in a lot of languages, but it is present here. I'm not going to be building this with an Estonian layout, but just sort of got it just in case. And finally, we have the mono kit, which is, you'll see, it's, so basically Space Cadet means that all of the alpha numeric characters have sub-legends. Kinda like the ones in here. Wow, okay, that is really red on my camera. But basically these same sub-legends. But in the mono kit, you don't have the normal alphanumeric letters. You only have like the sub-legends, and they're like slightly bigger in size. But let's do a normie build first and see where that gets us, and work from there. Right, so let's start out by opening the Alphas kit. So how does this open? All right, so here's our alphas. And I think that the gray should kind of nicely complement, the gray and the blue should kind of nicely complement this yellow case. So let's start putting them on. Why are those so difficult to get on? Okay. Right off the bat, I can tell that this is a slightly higher keyboard, slightly higher keycap profile than what I'm used to. So let's see what happens. As far as I know, these are a die sub or a die sublimation, or reverse die sub. Sorry. So the base keycap is white, and then they sublimate the gray die onto it. I know that there were some issues with the production, with the long story short, since the characters on here are slightly lower than they would otherwise be, then they also overlapped like the bar that's on the F and the J key, and since these are reverse die sub, then like the gray paint that they sort of tried putting on there didn't super stick around the bar, so they ended up looking quite bad, which is one of the reasons why this set actually took a while longer to ship than it was originally supposed to. Outside of sort of the usual with GMK and a bunch of other manufacturers. Let's see. I have to check whether the plus is before the minus. Feeling kind of silly. Right, up top here we are going to be placing an accent colored tilde key. Okay, that certainly feels interesting. Like the feel that they have is quite different from how GMK keycaps feel. Like they're like smooth, but they're not like slippery or like not in the way that they would be shiny. GMK keycaps are usually like fairly matte when they ship and get like slightly shinier with use. And when they're new, you can sort of slightly feel the texture that they have. Which is, I think, like the grain of the texture is like a bit coarser on GMK caps. Yeah, this is, it feels a little bit like paper, if that makes sense. I'm not sure I'm like a super big fan of the font of the alphas being like super thin. but what switches are these? These are OPBlacks. I'm quickly going to Google who made them before I embarrass myself, but I'm going to do that after I place caps on this board because I unplugged my other keyboard as well. Yeah, these are supposed to sort of replicate cherry vintage blacks. Alright, so for our F key, we have the option of a normal key and a much more scooped option. Since I like to sort of know where my fingers are supposed to go without looking at the keyboard, then I'm going to use the scooped ones. Right, so ASD FGHJKL. It's weird, like I've built quite a few keyboards and I still cannot remember sometimes which order the keys are in. Yeah, that's like, as you can see, like when I press down on it, the PCB flexes quite a bit, like a lot more than I was sort of suspecting it would, which is kind of nice and kind of scary at the same time, because I don't super want to like short out switch pins, but this is an e-coating which is a little bit thicker than anodization. I'm not sure whether it's conductive or not, but I guess we'll find out. Right, so HJKL. I gotta say, I'm like, despite the font being kind of thin, I think this looks quite nice actually. Now that I think about it and that I look at it more. Let's see. Right, that's everything we need from the Alphas kit. Let's take a look at the 60% mods kit next. Okay, interesting. So, I, for some reason, thought I remembered like the two bottom rows of the mods being like black text on blue background, but maybe that was an extra kit that I did not get. I'm not sure. Either way, let's hope it ends up looking nice. Sorry about that. Right, so we have a stepped caps lock. Do not have a stepped control or a function key, which is a shame, and kind of makes me rethink the choice of putting in a stepped caps lock. But wow, this looks super interesting, like the sort of smoothness of the step here. It's like kind of round. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. Right, 1.5U backspace. As one would. Alright, so one thing that I'm noticing is that we have an enter key and an escape key in black and blue. So let's, should we use those as accents? Let's see, I'm just gonna place the rest of the keys first and then figure it out. Oh, the bottom is really flexy and it kind of... Cat, what are you doing? And if I like press on it too hard, then it bottoms out in the case, which might be an issue. That. Wow, okay. That. I'm not used to that sound. Like when I tested them, and even under a microscope or well, like listening to them real closely with a microphone and headphones and everything, like the OPBlack switches felt quite smooth, but whoa, what the hell is going on here? Okay, the spacebar is not returning properly, so let's see. Do we have a bent spacebar issue? Come on. Okay, the spacebar moves all right. Is the keycap straight? The keycap is a little bit bent. How do I illustrate this? So if I place it down here, then if I press on this edge, then like this side is about 1 millimeter up. If I press on this edge, then this side rises. So the fact that it's not perfectly straight might be an issue. Because I've never actually tried straightening a keycap before. I think this is PBT, so it should be as easy as putting it in hot water for a few minutes and then sort of laying it flat, placing something heavy onto it that presses down on it, and letting it cool off like that. But I'm kind of disappointed with that. I gotta be honest with you. That is not good. So my first experience with the cat profile is that the spacebar is bent. Sorry. Right, I have Control Alt. This is supposed to be a Win key. Right, Sys will do. Right, now we want a 1.75U shift. A 1U function key. Okay, I think I put a 1.25U control here. Let's replace that with the slightly longer one. And let's see. Should we do it like this? How does that look? Let's try it like this. I'm used to having like accent colors and enter and escape. Right, that is really flexy. Let's try and see if it shorts out or not. Right, so where's the cable? Here's the cable. Okay. Right, so I'm gonna switch over to the other microphone. And mute the music. This really annoys me. It sounds quite hollow to my ears. So I think I'm gonna do one typing test without the foam, record it, and then add the foam, do another one, see if that maybe, let's see, if I press down really hard on N. Okay, it does not trigger any other key presses, which is good news. Yeah, the spacebar being sluggish is sort of really annoying me. This is, as it is, it's like unusable as a daily driver, unfortunately. Right, so I'm going to pull up monkey tape. Let's do a typing test. All right. Well, it is currently the worst sounding board that I own, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure that the addition of the foam should make it a little bit better. It's like sort of like there's lacking case sound. There's like nice case sound. For example, if I were to grab my favorite board, which is the VAS60, then like this does not have any case foam in it, and it sounds a little bit resonant, but not to the extent where it's like sort of an echo chamber. This, on the other hand, I'm not super happy with this sound. Let's try the foam. Switch the music back on. Oh, the music apparently was on all this time. That's kind of embarrassing. I'll fix it in post once again. So I'm gonna pull some caps and take the PCB and plate assembly out of its case and put in the supplied case foam. And let's hope that's going to be enough. There are some people that probably like the sound. Like, it probably doesn't like sound bad to everyone. It just does not sound like the keyboards that I prefer. It's not a sound that I personally enjoy. Not to like shit on anyone else's taste. Alright, the foam is actually really nice and soft as well. It's quite a bit denser than some of the other foams that I've used. It's like sort of almost rubbery, whereas like some of the other ones that I've used have been like rather light. Let's get the screws out of the PCB. Right, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Right, and that actually reduces the flex to some extent as well. It's still bouncy, just like doesn't sort of bend to the bottom of the case. And once I've put the keycaps back on, I'm gonna do another sound test, and then you guys can chip in as well. Which option did you like more, with or without the foam? So maybe I was like a bit harsh in my words. It's not necessarily a bad keyboard, but it's just not my taste. Right. Trying to once again get them about even. Okay. Okay, I can already tell you that I like this a lot more than I did like the previous rendition, so... Right, so that should be over to the desk microphone again. Yeah, I like the sound of the keyboard with the foam significantly better than I did without. It still has like some case sound and like some of that sort of clack, but without it sort of without like the sound waves sort of bouncing around in the case and making it super resonant. So it still has like character. It's not like muted by any means, but this spacebar is super sluggish. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this Spacebars kit. I'm going to take a look at the Spacebars in here, and maybe one of these will be a little bit less of a banana. Here's things again. Okay. Alright, so the one downside that these have is that the majority of these are blue. Let's see, how long is this one? This is 6U. Okay. This should be the 71. Yep. Let's check this one for banana-ness. And unfortunately, this one, just like the other one, I'm not sure if I can like show this in camera super well. Like you can see this gap here on this side. If I press down on this side, then the gap appears on this end. And if you sort of look down it, you can kind of see that it's bowed like this a little bit. So it's probably going to yield the exact same result as this one. I am not happy about this. I will try and fix it, but yeah, maybe not immediately and not on stream. Do I have a different spacebar that I could try on here? Just to sort of ensure that the issue is in fact with the keycap and not with the stab. What is this 7U space like? Right, this is also a little bit of a banana. But let's see how it ends up feeling. It is, of course, a different profile. See, this one's also bent, but this one has a fairly snappy return, just like the other stabilized keys. So I'm wondering if it's like the sort of the part of the switch that they use that goes around the switch's crucifix, or the part of the keycap, or like sort of what is causing this issue, because it's not present in this keycap, which is equally bent, but it is a different profile. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Just to ensure that it is not user error, I'm gonna see if the switch is on straight. The stab is moving freely as well, so it's not that. Let's see if it gets better if I flip it. Mechanically, I don't think that makes any difference at all. But it is free, so. So apparently that does make a little bit of a difference. It is a little bit more snappy in its return now. Looks a bit odd. I'm not sure if you can see on the camera, but yeah, works fine this way around. So maybe I did like install it in a weird way. I will try and flip it once more and see what that does. I know this is not the most interesting stream you've ever watched probably, but yep. When I flip it the right way around, then it doesn't really work properly. or well, what I think is the right way around. Yeah, super weird. Right, so all in all, without the case foam, I did not like at all how this keyboard sounds. With the case foam, I think it's a lot better. I actually quite like the sound. Is it flexy? Well, yes. If you look, like it sort of flexes in like a good 1.5 or 2 millimeters if you like press hard enough. Yeah, still like puzzled about the spacebar, but you know, whatever. One thing that I could try to do to see if it like makes a major difference or not is tightening these screws on the bottom that the standoffs rest on. See if that sort of stiffens up the feel at all. A little bit. I think it actually might have made it sound a little bit better as well. Maybe it's placebo. I will do another quick typing test. Just the words per minute was bullshit, but I feel like that did make it sound like a little bit better actually. It is still flexy, maybe like not as much as it was before, but oh my god, Vlad did make it to the stream. Congratulations! I think this is the first of my streams that you actually caught. Welcome. Yeah, the keycap set looks absolutely bomb. I really love how this looks. The typing feel, or like the profile, takes some getting used to, I think. But like the keycap set I'm happy with. The keyboard I am actually quite happy with right now as well. Gonna switch back over to my voice so Vlad can experience this as well. There is foam in the case, yeah. I did do one typing test without any foam at all, and it sounded like you would expect a train on board to sound. Not good. Like it was very sort of reverberant. It was very sort of reverberant and quite loud, not in a good way. But yeah, this I quite enjoyed actually. So yeah, since tomorrow is Mango Day, and since I am going to be showcasing different kinds of keyboards with different keycap profiles and different switches there, then I think I'm going to keep this set on here for now. And maybe I will put on the PBT cat set on the Bakken Echo on tomorrow's stream. The sound test that I'm going to be doing there is probably not going to be very quiet, but I mean, it's going to be something. And for those of you that can make it, then tomorrow at, I think the event starts at 9 PM in Ülemiste Apollo, or the Apollo Cinema in Ülemiste. Mango Day will take place. And me, Valmar, and Gerson from the Keep.ee community will be there as well. Just sort of showing off our keyboards. I will be doing a live build on stream. Valmar will be lubing some switches, and there will probably be like 20-ish boards to touch and play around with for the visitors of the event as well. So if you can make it, then drop by, say hi, and yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. I feel like I'm slightly starting to lose my voice again. I will probably take some pictures of this board in actual good lighting and see where that gets me. Yeah, thank you everyone that joined, especially you, Vlad. You actually made it to my stream for the first time. I'm super flattered. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and I'll catch you tomorrow at probably around 9:30. Right, see you guys.